Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host to fight CPS and to stop taking our children. I want to give out a warm welcome. You found the right place. You found me on Fighting CPS Bob Pace, and I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And I warmly welcome you because I know how hard it is with what you're in. I've been there before. The child protection system is an agency of the social services. It's a branch. Its sole purpose is to protect children from neglect and abuse and also help with family reunification. It's important when you break the family up that you bring them back together. Why? The best parents for our children are the biological parents. Studies have shown time and time again that children do well if they are with their biological mom and dad. Now, I know for a fact that sometimes that's not possible. And I realize that, a lot of you are single parents. I realize there's a lot of deadbeat dads or deadbeat moms. And it's sad because the children need a parent. It is so hard out there. And growing up in foster care is terrible. And it seems like every child that is investigated with allegations immediately is taken into foster care. CPS, the Child Protection System, immediately puts them in foster care, traffics them. You hear the word traffic? They traffic into foster care. Now, I'm going to get in touch with a couple people right now that somehow the notification doesn't go through and they're irregular, so I want to tell them that I'm live. Okay, I just invited Faye from Richmond, Kentucky. She comes on all the time. Now, I had not seen Danielle Watt, who's from Georgia. She's my co host, but she's been having computer issues. So I notified her. Then there's Natalie from West Hollywood, California, that comes in all the time, and I want to make sure she knows about it. There's a lot of people that come into this podcast, not only from the United States, but from around the world. I have lots of people from Africa, Europe, South America, North America, and the land down yonder. And so I will talk about them in a few minutes here. Now, I too have been through CPS. I've experienced all of you experience. I've been fighting CPS since 2010, 5 years to dispute their allegations. And finally, a police detective tracked me down and forced me to come home and made my case that was extreme. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I have a wealth of information. I've been talking to various people, and I can help you with some things that'll help you. I have about 4 rules I can cover, things that I didn't do that I should have done, and how to be careful when you're dealing with CPS. So the way to interact with this podcast is there's about 4 ways you can. One is you just listen. You just be a listener, and I got 3 people in my room that are listening right now. 2 is that you can make a comment Oops. Okay, you can make a phone call and call into my number 626-698-0990. That's my office phone. I'm available 14 times. That's 7 days a week, twice a day. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time for an hour, except tomorrow. On Sunday, I come on at 8 o'clock. And then I'm on in the evening at 7 p.m. for an hour, and that's Monday through Friday. So those are my show times, and that's when I'm on. So when I'm on, my phone is open to you all to call in. I put you on speakerphone, and we can talk from there. If I'm not on, you call in. I will remind you that you need to, be on my show time for me to answer the call. But that's one way. A second way, the first way is just to listen. Second way is a phone call. And a third way is texting comments. Now, when you're texting comments or typing them, I don't know what's the correct term, texting or typing. Anyway, when you type in or text in your comments, make sure you deal with CPS. The question should be about CPS. That's the Child Protection Services, and we should stick to those comments. We could talk about a lot of things, but it wouldn't be covered in the show. The show's not long enough. Now, when you do text in a comment, make sure you show your name, your city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case. Now, what I mean by complete, it means that you start off giving the makeup of your family. Whether you are a single parent or you have a husband, wife, or a partnership, or a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or you're just lovers. Anyway, I just need the relationship, how many kids are involved, and what their ages are, and whether they're girls or boys. Then after you describe that, the next thing I want you to do is tell me the allegations. Did you give the children up to them? Did you go to their office? Did they come into your house? You let them in? Those kinds of things. So you need to tell me that. So it's kind of like three parts. And then the fourth part is where you're at with your CPS case. Are you at the beginning, the middle, the end? Where you at? Important there. So just text in the comments. And I said country because, as I told you earlier, I have Bangladesh, New Delhi, India that have texted in. In Africa, I have South Africa, one of the provincial states, text in. I have had Rwanda, which is above South Africa in the center of Africa, opposite Mozambique. And then I've had Mozambique, and they're below Somalia. And then on the West Coast, I've had Liberia call in, and that's Archie, and he has a lot to say, and he has a scouting program that he's really happy that he's doing. And so that's Africa. Now I go to Europe, and I've had England, Scotland, Wales, United Kingdom, and then I've had Sweden and Denmark. And then in South America, I've had Ghana. Ghana is to the east of Venezuela, north of Brazil. Along the coast, their biggest coastal town is Georgetown. And so there's Ghana in South America. In North America, we've had Canada and all the 50 states. We've had a couple of calls from Canada the other night they're on. And then in Central America, or maybe south of North America, is Mexico. I've had Mexico call in too, and that was important. And then the land down yonder is Australia. I've had Australia call in. So I'm open up to any of the countries, the city or states. It seems like over the 500 some people I've talking to, everybody has a general consensus that CPS is awful. It's the most awful experience you ever go through in your life. Very, 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 very bad. Now, another way to interact with this podcast is to be a guest on my show. Now, I have a show producer. Her name is Grace. She works really hard behind the scenes, keeps me in line, and helps out if there's problems in the show. She also helps arrange my guests. All you do is write to her one of my show times. You ask Monday or Wednesday morning or evening, wherever it is. You tell her that. It's not really. It's only 14 shows to pick from. You email her at grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. And so you email her and tell her what show you're on, and then she'll give you the link to get on the SteamYard, and then she'll tell you what to do or not to do, like no smoking on the podcast and eating and so forth. But she'll help you, and then we'll just talk side by side. Either talk about your case or help out the people in the room or talk about other people's case. But all you do is email her, grace@vincentwdavis.com. Now, I'm going to put it back at the phone number because that's the one that seems to be the hardest to remember. So there's my phone number. I'm open to callbacks right now. You can call in. I am going to talk about my rules and a little bit more about some examples to help you out a little bit. But I really love to have you call me at that number, 626-698-0990. Now, I hope everyone's fine tonight. It's really hot across the country. I know it is. I'm very blessed because I live at the beach and I get the ocean breeze across the ocean. The ocean works like an ice tray. And we have strong winds that blow across the ocean to onshore. And that really makes it nice. So you're probably wondering, what kind of social workers are they? Well, I'll give you some examples. The first example was a group of social workers that were working out of Prescott, Arizona. And it's the year 2022. And what was happening is that the particular parent was being investigated. Oh, correction. The particular social worker decided to buy, there was 8 of them, 8 social workers in Prescott, Arizona in the year 2022 decided to buy pink t-shirts, and they had them stenciled. Bad enough with pink, but they had them stenciled. So these 8 social workers in Prescott, Arizona, stenciled on the front, they're professional kidnappers. The word professional kidnappers was posted on the front. And on the back of the t-shirt, they had the question, do you know where your children are? Now, those 2 examples, or those 2 characters of social worker, was bad enough as it is. Those are the kind of people you're going against. They're not nice. They don't like families. And they certainly don't like taking care of your kids. Now, there's times that you need a strong social worker. And there's times that kids are abused by parents. But in my case, I wasn't. My children were not abused. But they treated my case like they were. And they actually put on a tourniquet, not a tourniquet, I want to say what the correct word is. But anyway, these social workers at Prescott Engineer were so proud they could march around with that saying. And they further were saying that, um, it's a shame so freely that people can call in and make claims. And that's what happened with my case. That's what happened in my case. Now we have some people enter the room, and the first person I had enter the room is, I think, a new one. I don't think I've heard of this person before. This is Mannequin 05. You've been in here before. I know the name Mannequin. I forget what city and state, so if you can tell me what city and state you are at. And this guy is laughing. The host of the show himself is mulching. What do you mean by mulching? I'm completely lost there. You say I'm mulching. I don't know what you mean by mulching. But welcome. I think you've been on before. What city and state or country are you from? And what CPS case do you have to talk about or question? And I don't know if I've said too much, but here we go. We got something in there. Okay, I don't know what the word mulching means. Mooching or Munchin. What is mooching? I never heard of that terminology. Mooching. Mooching. I don't know what mooching is. Anyway, I'm trying to understand. That's a new word I've heard. Let me look it up on the internet. Muchin. What is mooching? What is mooching? Well, I think that no, not mulching. Mulching is when you're putting wood chips in the grass. I don't think that's what he's referring to. Um, what is the meaning of that? Okay, here it is. Okay, it says adverb to a great extent. Meaning of mulching. What is the meaning of mulching? A simple definition. Oh boy. It's a widely practiced gardening technique that's beneficial. Well, that's mulching. That's not what I. Oh boy. What does. Well, mulch is a slang term a woman uses to call a man. This is something that's, I'm going to pass on this one here. I have no idea. Let's see what. Oh, eating. Well, I'm not eating. If my mouth is making noise, I apologize. I do have a jaw that makes a lot of sound, but I'm not mulching on anything or mooching on anything. I'm surprised why it sounds like that. I cannot tell. I test my mic and I know my mic's up there, but I have no idea what you're talking about. But anyway, I still don't know what city, state, or country you're from, and I don't know what CPS question you have. I like to help you out there if I can. Again, I welcome all of you. Um, we're in this room here to fight, to stop taking CPS and fight CPS and stop taking our children. So, if you have a question or could explain on that a little bit more, that would be great. That would be great. Okay, I guess I gotta be careful when I move my jaw or my mouth. I guess I don't know. Um, Let me get something to drink here. Oh, my back is killing me. I love to be mulching on something. I'm starving. I need food bad. I don't think I was eating ice. Anyway. This morning we had trouble with too many windows open, and my lag was killing me. And every time I blinked my eyes, they'd stay closed, looked like I was sleeping. But hopefully my eyes are better now. I have real squinty eyes anyway. Um, I like to go over the rules, but first of all, I'm trying to describe a social worker. Now, a social worker I described was in Prescott, Arizona, and these social workers were fired. They had 25 years of experience, but they stated they're professional kidnappers. Now, if you're involved with a case, would you like to be considered? I'd like to see that sign, professional kidnappers. That's wrong. That's wrong. And so those people were fired, and the director was fired, and all that's left is one worker. But that's your typical scenario of a social worker. Um, Another social worker just recently out of Chicago, Illinois, posted on her Facebook page an ad, and the ad was depicting um, black children for sale. Black children for sale. And this is from 1848. You see, we used to have slavery and we used to sell black children. So I don't know why the social worker was putting it on her Facebook page because she's from CPS. So I don't know what she's trying to imply that CPS is selling children again. I don't know. I don't think they were accused of selling children, but they do traffic children. I will say that. So so this social worker put this ad from 1848 that said black children for sale. What's also strange about this particular ad, the social worker was black. So why would a black social worker in the child protection system put an ad from 1848, that was 10 years before the Civil War, 140 years ago, on today in the year 2024? Um, I think slavery has been outlawed or stopped in the United States. I hear about trafficking all the time and how bad it is and how 450,000 children every year are being trafficking. Now that sounds a big number, 500,000, but it's really sad because that's what it is there. But anyway, something should have been done about that. Something should have been done about that. There was another case of a social worker who's investigating a young girl at school. Some of these social workers go to school and talk to your children about your knowledge, and they're not supposed to. The law states if a child do not talk to strangers, there's an emergency card you fill out. Only those people in the card are allowed to talk to them. And if they do need to be talked to, then a parent is called. The parent comes down to school. He waits privately while the person investigating the child asks the questions. But the parent's supposed to be notified, and that doesn't seem like it's happening. Now, my social worker in my case was terrible. She actually took revenge. And what I mean by that is that we had a trial going, and I hired Mr. Davis. He was my attorney. And he was cross examining the social worker, a young social worker, 23, and asked her because what was happening was that my wife's sister was trying to adopt our daughter against our wishes. You see, that's what's so bad. Social workers manipulate. They manipulate. One moment, please. I've got something in my eye again. I'm going to step out for a second here. All right, I'm back. Die all better. Die all better. Now, we've had one guest so far in this show, and I still don't know what city, state, or country he's from. We appreciate it. And I don't know what his question is, his CPS question. Um, So, for all you that listeners out there, we were talking about types of social workers. I described the one about the pink ladies, and then I described the one about the social worker that ran the Black Children for Sale ad. And I'll just describe it about my social worker who had no training, no college education, and she was given bonuses. You see, that's why the social workers are taking our children. They get a bonus. They get a bonus. They get a bonus of $20,000 per child per month. And with my I had three of my children taken in 2015. That was $60,000 a month they were getting from my children. They're getting from the state, who in turn got it from the federal government. Now, my social worker was on the stand because my wife's sister was trying to adopt our girl. And my attorney asked her, was there any domestic violence in your household with your husband? And she said, no, there was none. The social worker lied because my attorney brought out all this documentation of police reports, investigations. There was domestic violence. There was domestic violence. She was embarrassed. Mr. Davis made her really embarrassed. Only problem was she retaliated. That's the downside. She told us parents, you're never going to see your daughter again. You know what she did? She told our daughter, change your name, divorce your parents, your brothers, your aunt, uncle, and your grandparents. Change your name. I said that, divorce, and then seal your birth certificate that you're being born from us. And on top of that, be adopted in foster care. Well, she didn't know any better at age 12, but that's how bad the social workers are. That's how bad. And I lost my daughter. I am still devastated about losing our daughter here. You know, she's now is 22 years old, and she just turned 22 on July 9th. We have not seen her since age 12. And it's sad that she wants to forget us as parents. I don't understand the Child Protection Agency, the workers. They have no people skills, they have no brains, no education, and they go and dictate things that they don't even know what to dictate. I mean, my social worker is so inexperienced. There has been one social worker that's talked on my show here. Her name was Carol. She was from Maryland, and she did talk. And she told me that social workers don't do that in Maryland, what I was describing. She was shocked. And we talked about 40 minutes, but she's not been on since then. But I told her, I said, I've talked to other people in Maryland, and they said very negative things about your child protection. She says that she had a degree in sociology, and she had 6 months of training in Maryland before she started work. I wish that was true, but it's not. I know that Kentucky, the social workers need a license. And I think all social workers should have a license. And I think it should be one that you have to renew every 5 years, just like your driver's license. Your driver's license every 5 years too. So these social workers should have a license. And they should have the education to know how to deal with these people. So these social workers are not kind. They're not going to be nice to you at all. You work so hard to take care of your family. You feed them. You take care of your kids, take them to school, and do so much. And then they want to sit there and treat you so bad because maybe you're low income or maybe you lost your job. In my case, I lost my job in 2010 through no fault of my own. And that's a hard thing to take because I was 60 years old at the time. It's just that this world, there's no respect out there. There's no respect for parents. There's no respect for people, that might be on the show. They don't know how they keep their comments in, and they like to cause drama and riffraff. And that's what's so sad about um, the social system, the child protection system is so troubled. And hard to deal with. They're really hard to deal with. Now we've only had one person here. I mean that's talking. That was Mannequin, but I guess they don't know where they're from. And I guess he has no CPS question. I guess at all. So that's okay. You can listen in there. As I say, we need to show respect. We know that we really do. And the social services is one of the least, I mean, they show no respect at all. They show no respect at all. Now, again, I'm going to remind my phone number. You can call in at 626 698 0990. So that was another social worker example, was mine. Now, a fourth one just happened recently, is a investigator for the Child Protection Services. Was investigating a girl at the school, came to the school, did not notify the parents, wanted to speak with the young girl about some allegations or something. But what they didn't know, what he was doing, he's a pedophile. He's asked to be alone with the girl and asked his 13-year-old girl to disrobe so he'd take pictures. To me, that is abuse of trust. And on top of that, when the daughter came home and told the mother what had happened, she called child services right away. They investigated and they fired that guy. That guy was fired, but the school district was not reprimanded. They should have been reprimanded because you fill out an emergency card at the beginning of the school year and you list the people that your child can see. And social services, the police are not on that file. I mean, they're not. And here we have a guy that's a pedophile working for CPS and taking pictures of this girl, which is totally wrong, which is totally wrong. So I've told you 4 scenarios. And if you don't think CPS is bad enough, just think of the story of Alice in Wonderland. Alice was in her backyard, fell in the rabbit hole, and came in a world that's upside down and crazy. And that's what CPS is. When you're dealing with CPS, the child protection system, you're dealing with crazy clowns. It's sad, but that's what you're dealing with. And it's so crazy that this guy, a pedophile, could get away with it. In fact, the mother called the police and wanted to press charges, and the police says, there's nothing he did wrong. Come on. Here he is, a man alone with a camera, taking pictures of a naked 13-year-old girl. You don't think that's strange or wrong? There's a rule that you always have 2 adults present around children, and you should never talk to children without their parents know about them. On top of that, You shouldn't ask them to take off clothes and take pictures. That is totally wrong. That's totally wrong. So here we are, another social worker, a pedophile. And on top of that, guess what? He had a friend he grew up with high school. Even though he's let go, he has friends on the CPS. And what they did is they retaliated against the mother that reported this. The son was being accused of molesting their daughter. And then on top of that, they said that the mother was molesting the son. That was a retaliation, and that was far from the truth. People are so bad they'll use CPS to change the case or make themselves better. And it's not better. It's a very complex agency. So, let me go over my rules that will help you. Things that I should have done when I had a case and things I didn't practice. Now, there are 4 rules that I've come up with. One is you need a specialized attorney to fight your case. 2, you need to keep all your paperwork in order and organized. 3, you need not to talk to social workers or police. You also don't let them take your child from your home. You don't let them in the home. Furthermore, you don't let them I'm losing my thought there. We can come back to that part there, but you don't let them take your child, and you don't talk to them. That's rule number 3. And that you do not also talk to the police or let the police take your children. You don't give up your children. And in fact, you try to avoid them. So, for instance, and rule number 4, by the way, is you have to concentrate on your area of CPS, meaning that if your case is in Washington, D.C., then you look up everything is about CPS in Washington, D.C. If it's in Richmond, Kentucky, you look like everything else there too. So we're going to go with rule number 1. And that's the part that helped me get my kids back. Without an attorney, I was getting nowhere. The first half year, I was trying to fight it myself or try to use a court appointed attorney or pro se, where I end up being my own attorney. The problem with court appointed attorneys in the child protection system is they're overworked. I mean, they got more than 30 clients on their case. Also, they won't fight. They're friends of the social worker. You see, in a courtroom, you have the judge, the bailiff, who's supposed to keep order in the courtroom, the clerk, who will take notes about things and help out the judge, Then you have the social worker attorneys, or maybe two social workers. Then there are the parents' attorneys, and there will be two of those. And then each child has an attorney. So there's a lot of people in the room, but you as a parent won't be able to go in there in California courts, in the California courts. So the best attorney I recommend, you don't have to get it, it means you're not going to win it pro se or with a court appointed, is one that you professionally hire. Now, we have an attorney that produced this podcast. His name is Vincent W. Davis. And oh, good, we got Faye in here. Faye is from Richmond, Kentucky. And thank you for joining my room. We had an earlier person that I think has been on before named Die Mannequin 05. And I don't know where they're from, what city or state. And all he had to say about his CPS was that the host was munching. And I wish I was munching, but I wasn't munching. And anyway, that's all we've had so far. We've really had not too much talk about CPS. I've been talking about my rules now. I'm on rule number 1 about getting an attorney. So you call in to 888-888-6582. I want to thank Mr. Davis for making this show possible. He's the producer of the podcast. And when you call in, make sure you say Bob Pace sent you, and then schedule your consultation with Mr. Davis. It's 30 minutes long. He'll give you for $60. 30 minutes for $60. That's $2 a minute. He's a very knowledgeable attorney. He's been fighting CPS for 35 years. And he is a juvenile family dependency attorney. And he has won cases and gotten the kids back. He's also sued CPS civilly and won millions of dollars both in federal court and state court. So you can't go wrong here. Here's the attorney I'm telling you about. Again, I asked the gentleman or the person, I don't know if it's a girl or a guy, where you're from, city, state, or country, and what CPS question or case do you have? And right now, I don't really understand you by your last statement here, but anyway, you're welcome to stay and listen. We're in here about CPS. So, if you schedule that strategy meeting and you get a chance to talk to Mr. Davis, make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. Make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And he will strategize and help you navigate in CPS. And if you like him, you may want to retain him. He'll work in all the 50 states, and he will he'll get your kids back. He has really a good track record there. Okay. Oh, I'm not asking you to share your case. I'm just asking you to be polite and to say the city and state you're from if you're going to make comments and if you have a question. That's perfectly fine. Vince does have a podcast and he would gladly like to talk to you. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm not trying to be argumentative about that, but you're asking me about something called mulching, and I don't know what mulching really you're referring to. And so it's a little irritating to have someone in the room that was, a person like myself, puts in a lot of time to prepare for this podcast. And he does this on a daily basis since October, twice a day. Okay, well, you continue to do what you're doing there. I have a podcast, a lot of people that value my time and that liked my help I've given them. I've had a lot of people come back and do so. So then I'm sorry you have to watch it. I'm sorry it's a pain for you to watch it because I'm not requiring you to watch it. That's your choice. This room has an open door and you can go anytime you want. Yeah, he mentioned mulching, and I don't know what he's referencing about. I do welcome comments, but so far you've not made a comment about the child protection system. You're making comments about my performance in the room. So I have no idea what you're referring to, except that you just wanted great drama in the room. And that's what this room is not about. This room is not about drama. It's about how we can get our children back and fight CPS. And I've been fighting for 15 years. And I've been on this show twice a day, every day, 7 days a week. And again, this show is about the child protection system and how you can be helped by answering and helping each other. And it's just distracting. That's all. My concentration has been distracted ever since the beginning of the show. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't understand why you can't participate like the other people and tell me where you're from. You can say you're from the United States. Well, no, I do this with everybody that doesn't say anything, that just. Anyway, let's move on to rule number 2. It's called a notebook. And that's really important that you keep track of all your paperwork. You organize it, and a notebook is a good way to do so. I wish I'd done it. Use an 8.5 by 11-inch notebook with 3 rings. And I think the biggest one is 6 inches. And you use a hole punch to put all your paperwork in there. And you want to get some notebook paper and stuff it full of college rule notebook paper. And then you want to get some subject dividers and put them in. Okay. So with this notebook, one of the most important subjects are the subjects that deal with the incidents. So if you have some incidents about your CPS case, what you do is that you put the date, the time, the location, and the people involved. Then the second line, you describe the incident. And then the third line, you do the outcome. You do the outcome. And with that being said, with the outcome, you may not know it and you may have to come back later and fill it out. But I know in 6 months' time, you will forget everything. So it's important you write down the incidents. Another subject matter is the is your parent classes that you take. As you get a certificate, you punch holes, put them in there, make a log of all your parenting classes. Also, you have a program like anger management. You have you see, besides anger management, you have your drug rehab program, and you may also have domestic violence too as a program. There's this and a drinking program too. There's a drinking problem there is too. So I want that notebook to be something to be useful to you to use to help you with your case. Um, Also, what's good with your notebook is you want to use a highlighter, like a pink or yellow highlighter. You can mark things so it's easy to find things. Um, okay. The third rule I have is the one. Well, we're getting lost on my time here. I first want to apologize to all my listeners out there that I got distracted by someone coming into the room that apparently wouldn't want to talk about child protection system or their case or any questions. So I do apologize if I got distracted. And I was trying to get some help and try to handle this situation. But anyway, I want to thank you all for coming to listen. I want to thank Faye, who comes back regularly and talks. And that's really nice that you did. And I would hope I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That's Sunday. But I got to sign off. So God bless you and keep fighting